The Sandman is still my favorite comic series. It also might be the fictional universe that I'm most fascinated with. I've mentioned this on DSC before, but for those of you who don't know, Sandman was a comic that had an original run of 75 issues in the early 90s. It's about a group of 7 godlike beings who embody different aspects of the universe. The protagonist of this story is Dream, or Morpheus. Sandman's original run was incredibly intricate, ambitious, and strange. There's nothing else out there like it. Art-wise, Sandman had some great talent working on it. Dave McKean did the covers for the series, and he's a big artistic inspiration for me. His art is very experimental and employs a lot of mixed media. It seemed to suit the stories perfectly because of how out there and experimental it was. Sandman's main run ended in '96, but spawned many spin-offs and fiction that took place in that same universe. The spin-offs themselves were very good, with books like Lucifer, Endless Nights, and a series called The Dreaming, which also had some great Dave McKean covers on it. Neil Gaiman did a good job of tying up a very ambitious story when the main run of Sandman ended, but the nature of the universe that this book takes place in is incredibly rich, and it was not at all surprising to me when I heard that Gaiman would be writing a Sandman miniseries. This week, I dig Sandman Overture, a Sandman miniseries written by Neil Gaiman and drawn by J.H. Williams III. The story so far is following 2 incarnations of Dream in 2 different time periods. You've got Daniel Hall, the newest Sandman in the current time, who is investigating some weird temporal issue. Back in the early 1900s, Morpheus is sucked into another dimension where he's stuck talking to hundreds of different incarnations of himself. He's also attempting to investigate what's caused his ego to split into all of these different parts. It's exciting to see more of Daniel Hall in this book because he showed up at the end of the original run of Sandman, not saying or doing too much of note. Neil Gaiman's had almost a decade to think about this character and his place in the universe, so I'm excited to see how he's going to distinguish this incarnation of Dream from Morpheus. The writing in Sandman Overture is as good as anything I've seen Gaiman write, which is saying a lot. The dialogue is consistent and reads like everything else in the Sandman universe, but I think that Gaiman's strength has always been the crazy scenarios that he's able to imagine. Sometimes you'll have to pause and really try and process what's happening on the page, which brings me to the art. J.H. Williams III is doing incredible things with this book. Every page of this miniseries so far has surprised me. There's so much attention to detail and experimentation with different mediums, and you can tell that he's really going above and beyond for this project. Pay attention to the scenes where Morpheus is encountering the different incarnations of himself. There's so much variation in texture, line quality, and color from one dream to the next. Like I mentioned before about this universe being a great environment to build on, you can look at any of these characters that Williams has drawn and imagine a whole different Sandman miniseries being written about any of them. You also get some great lettering work from Todd Klein on these pages to support all of the variety in the characters. The last thing that I wanted to mention about Sandman Overture's art is that the placement of the panels is very ambitious. I know that Gaiman plans out a lot of this stuff in the writing, but it's executed perfectly in this book. In issue 2, there are a few pages on the Daniel Hall storyline where he's walking through a house filled with these weird veins and organs. Williams sometimes puts the characters in rooms as panels, and sometimes the organs and veins turn into panels. I really wish the original Sandman run had been drawn by this guy and Dave McKean. There have only been 2 issues of this book so far, and although there have been some delays in between the releases, it's very much worth the wait, and I can't wait to see where this goes. As far as this image you see me drawing here, I tried to push myself and make some weird things happen, and I'm really happy with how it came out, especially with the Morpheus and Dream of Cats portion. I'll leave a link to the finished image below. Thanks for watching.